So the state of Maine's second biggest expenditure by far is on healthcare. Isn't that interesting? So let's dive into this right here. The state of Maine 2022 to 2023 governor's budget. And we're going to scroll down over here, and I'm going to show you something here because it's, let's see what we got here. So let's click on this. Fiscal years 2023 general fund projected appropriations. Total education, $3.7 billion. Total Department of Health and Human Services, $2.8 billion. Hold on a second. Total remainder of state government, $1.8 billion. Their two biggest expenditures are in education and health. It just, I mean, look at, let's see if I can't make this a little bit bigger here. Hold on a second. Right there. I mean, look at this, man. That right there is Department of Health and Human Services. Look, nothing comes close. It's just a fraction under education. Basically, $3 billion for education, $2.75 billion for healthcare. Of a total budget of, where was it? That's revenue. Where's the budget? Right here, $8 million. Of a total budget of $8 million. 5.5 billion of $8 billion of a total budget of $8 billion. Almost $6 billion of that went to healthcare and education. I mean, this is insane. So $2.8 billion goes to healthcare. So let's look at this thing right quick. This is annual Medicaid and CHIP expenditures, all right, billions of dollars by service category. So what we're going to show you here is we're basically going to say, we're going to add all this stuff up here. So it's Medicaid and CHIP. CHIP is for the Children's Health Insurance Program. Managed care is your basic Medicaid stuff. Here is your long-term care, all right? So we're going to say, we're going to calculate all these. We got 296 plus 125 plus 99 plus 62 plus 11 plus 29. So we got each state on average has about $6.22 billion in spending on average on Medicaid and CHIP. All right, so that's going to be your health and human services stuff. So of that $6.22 billion, 1.29 is long-term care. 1.25 divided by 6.22. So 20% of their total expenditures, and we're using this as a broad assumption, is long-term care. Long-term care isn't for children. It's not CHIP. It isn't for and physician, laboratory, and other services are going to be on top of long-term care. But we're just showing Medicaid facilities, old people. All right. Hope that makes sense. So basically, 20% of all of our expenditures in the state budget, on average, goes to long-term care. So we look back again. We see that $2.08 billion is spent on total health. We'll say 20% of that. That's going to be 500. What is that? So we got 2.809 billion times 0.2. That's 561 million is spent on long-term care alone. We're just extrapolating these data sets. And this other data set is from the CMS, the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services, Medicaid.gov. So the average state spends basically 20% of their health budget on long-term care, the average state. If that makes sense? So we're seeing that same thing for Maine. And Maine's going to be much worse because Maine has such an older population, but we're just going to give the benefit of the doubt. So total annual Medicaid and CHIP expenditures by state. So we go down to Maine, and we say Maine, the total annual, and now that was in 2019, now it's in 2018, now it's $2.8 billion, as we talked about. How much of that spent on CHIP? Only $35 million. That's it. 35, where was that? Maine. Let's go to Maine. Right there. So we got $2.85 billion was spent on total, right here, health Medicaid services, $2.8 billion, all right, of which CHIP was only $35 million. $154 million was spent on administration. Isn't that interesting? So if we look at administration, we say, well, administration was basically long-term care was basically 5 times the cost of administration. And so again, I get about $560 million of the state of Maine budget is spent on long-term care. Divide 5.6 561 million. Let's say 5 divided by 80. And that's 6% of the entirety of the state budget is spent on long-term care. Not even including physician services, not including inpatient, just not including prescription drugs, just on long-term care. All right, so let's go back to this. And again, this is probably giving it a very conservative approach because Maine, by the way, is like the oldest state in the union. So if we go back to the expenditures, what is long-term care spent more on? So it's to spend more on Department of Administration and Financial Services because 561 million is spent on long-term care alone. Spent more on long-term care than Department of Corrections. Is there anything in the budget right here other than Department of Public Safety? So we got that's your state troopers and whatnot. It's Department of Public Safety, community college system. No, so it's not because $516 million. That's $104 million. Look at that. Yeah, look at that. Long-term care costs Maine more than anything else in the system as a single line item budget. Now, I don't know what's involved in the Department of Education, but long-term care as part of this right here is one of the biggest expenditures in the system, more than any other thing here, other than how we break down education and other expenditures for health. And the biggest expenditure for health is managed care. This is from the federal government too. It's not just me pulling out my butt. So, hold on a second. So according to CMS, the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services, 661 Maine CMS Medicare patients have died within 28 days of receiving the Jabba Jabba. 661 Maine Medicare patients have died from 28 days of receiving the Jabba Jabba. Can we attribute that to the Jabba Jabba? No. 661. Maine has only got 1 million people. That's it. And you should watch my man's show here, Steve Deace. I keep calling him Deace, A Curious Case of Maine. It's right here. Epidemiologist certifies that more than 600 Medicare, let's read what this is, 7-Eleven, more than 600 Medicare recipients in Maine died within 28 days. All right, so we talked about that. So let's look at Maine. How many people dies every year in Maine? All right, let's take a look. So let me pause it. So in Maine, they got 15,000 people die on average each year. And I mean, again, so you had 12,000 in 2010, 12,000 in 2011, 13,000 in 2013, 15,000 people die each year. So the fact that 661 of those died, that's I'll let you figure out something there. But let's see what else they got here, because that's kind of creepy to me, actually. Here's Maine data. Coronavirus deaths. I haven't looked at this, but let's just take a look because I have a theory about this. It's not taking forever. County by county. I don't know. Let's see. All right, so we got, I don't know what this is. What we got? Daily positive tests and positivity rate. And okay, cases by county. Deaths right here. Statewide. Data through October 17th, I'm not sure, of 1,000 deaths from coronavirus. Is this for 2021? I don't know. But the entire state had 1,000 deaths of coronavirus. It looks like for the whole year, I guess. I don't know if that's 2021. Yeah, it says, I don't know if that's the whole time. I don't know. But 1,095 deaths from coronavirus, and they had it in the whole year, if not the whole time. And yet we had 661 28 days after something. That's some, let's see. I'm telling you, man, I'll let you figure this stuff out. But this ain't right. This ain't right. This is some evil stuff, man. This might be the whole time. This might be the whole time. Look at that. 1,000 deaths in corona. That can't be, right? How many corona coronavirus deaths in Maine. That can't be 1,000. I mean, maybe it is. It's crazy. Right, let's click on. Yeah, right there. Look at that. 1,000 deaths. Maine's had 1,000 deaths of coronavirus, and 661 died in 28 days after taking the jab. Is a correlation equal causation? I don't have any idea, but wouldn't someone want to investigate this? Number two, one of the biggest line items by far in their expenditure is long-term care. I'll let you make those. I don't. We'll see.